seek His divine blessing and inspiration, to seek His protection. And this morning, as we come before you, Prabhu, as your children, you know our heart, you know our mind, you know those things that is desirable for us and those things that are not desirable. We ask you, Prabhu, to continue to show us that pathway that will lead us to the right conduct and to the right action, and to allow us to remove ourselves from those things that are negative and those things that are undesirable. Brothers and sisters, in this case, the Lord is before us this morning, beautifully adorned, beautifully decorated. And whichever form of that Almighty God you find most endearing, most appealing to you, I invite you to gaze at that form. Let's all now stand, assuming that position of reverence, that position of love, as we offer our invocation mantras this morning to that Almighty God. Krishna
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh.
we invite you all, whether you are here physically in the Mandir or whether you are viewing us online, to use the opportunity to chant and to glorify the name of God. Let us sing His praises and let us seek His blessing and His protection at this time.
Jai We join in reciting the verses from the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Shri Krishna says, when there is a decline in righteousness and a rise in unrighteousness, I am born from age to age, for the protection of the good and for the destruction of the wicked.
Satyam Yashavashvi
it has been chanted, take your palm, please to your lips and visualize it receiving this water.
Om Shanto Devi Rabhishraya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye Shamyo Rabhi Savantu Naha.
Omnipresent God, be kind to us and grant the happiness and objects we need.
Continuing purification now, we visualize water in our left palm. Using the third finger of our right hand and the ring finger, we dip into the water on each occasion, touching the various parts of the body as we go around. We start with the mouth.
Om Bhagava
Nose.
Om Pranaha Pranaha
Eyes.
Om Chakshu Chakshu
Ears.
Om Srodram Srodram
Navel.
Om Nabi
Heart.
Om Hridayam
Throat.
Om Kantaha
Head.
Om Shiraha
Both arms.
Om Bahuvyam Yashobhalam
Palm and back of palm.
Om Karatala Karavrishte.
O God, let my ways, life, eyes, ears, neck, heart, throat, and head be pure and powerful, and the arms strong and renowned. Let my palm and back of palm perform religious rites.
In the same manner as we continue with Mandir, we once more visualize what's on our left palm. Again, using the third finger of our right hand and dipping into the water on each occasion, we touch the various parts of our body. We start once more with our head.
Om Bhupunathu Shirasi
Eyes.
Om Bhuvapunathu Netrayo
Throat.
Om Swapunathu Kante
Heart.
Om Mahapunathu Hridaye
Navel.
Om Janapunathu Nabhyam
Both legs.
Om Tapapunathu Padayo
Yellow head.
Om Satyam Punathu Punaha Shirasi
One time.
Om Brahma Punathu Sarvatra.
Let the region of Bhu help us to purify our head. Let the region of Loha help us to purify our eyes. Let the region of Swaha help us to purify our throats. Let the region of Maha help us to purify our hearts. Let the region of Jana help us to purify our navel. Let the region of Satya help us to purify our legs. Let the region of Satya again help us to purify our heads. Let Brahma help us to purify every place.
Visible in upright position, close spine erect, as we now engage in pranayama.
Tendency for creation arose in the divine mind of the absolute God. Then came chaos, then came sulfur water, then day and night. The sun, the moon, heaven, world, and the horizon were created as were in the previous creation.
Studio Basan.
Devam vahanti ketavah
this universe proclaims your glory. The wise are surprised and illuminated by your supreme nature. You have given vision to the sun, the sea god, the fire god. The heaven, the middle region, and the earth are being sustained by you. You are the soul of the universe.
Brahma.
Om Tachashuridevahitam Purasta Shukramujala Vashima Sharidam Shatam Jivima Sharidam Shatam Shriyama Sharidam Shatam Prabhavama Sharidam Shatam Adina Syama Sharidam Shatam Bhuyascha Sharidam Shatam.
Omniscient God, let us see for 100 years. Let us live for 100 years. Let us care for 100 years. Let us live for more than 100 years.
We bow our head in reverence as each of the following mantras are being chanted. We pay obeisance or respects to Brahma, to the teachers, to the rishis, to the devatas, and to the Vedas.
Om Brahmane Namaha. Om Acharyebhyo Namaha. Om Rishibhyo Namaha. Om Devebhyo Namaha. Om Devebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha.
Salutation to Brahma, to preceptor, to sages, to gods, to Vedas.
Once more sitting in an upright position, we join together as together we chant this most powerful Gayatri Mantra.
Om Bhurvuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurvuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurvuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha.
Let us be in union with your luminous nature, who is the creator of the three worlds and giver of our intellect.
Brahma.
Om Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayobhavaya Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha. Om Vyamasi Vyamayi Devi. Om Balamasi Balamayi Devi. Om Tejavasi Tejamayi Devi. Om Ojavasi Ojamayi Devi. Om Bhagyavasi Bhagyamayi Devi. Om Sahasi Sahamayi Devi.
Salutation to the Almighty, the giver of bliss, happiness, and peace. May we be blessed with energy, strength, glory, courage, and patience.
We join together now in universal peace prayer.
Sarvesham Mangalam Bhuyat. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet. Nandantu Sarva Bhutani. Niradantavi Santuja. Preetirastu Parasparam. Sedirastu Chakarna.
Let all see good and let none suffer. Let all be happy and fearless. Let there be sympathy for each other and success for all who. Let there be prosperity to the leader who protects the people every day and also to the people. Let the bipeds and the quadrupeds be prosperous every day. Let there be peace in gods and in the free worlds. Let us and all other beings have peace everywhere. Creator and sustainer as you are of the world, you encourage godliness and establish peace amongst the people. Who is my friend today? Let him be in peace. And who is my enemy? Let him also be in peace.
Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om.
Jai Sri Ram, everyone. Jai Sri Ram. I want to welcome those of you who have tuned out physically this morning in what will be our last face-to-face Sunday morning service for at least the next 28 days. But we will be continuing with our Sunday morning offering online as we did when the initial lockdown took place. So that there will be an offering and satsang on a Sunday morning, but this will be conducted in a different format and online. So those of you who are here physically, this will be our final face-to-face service in this format, at least for the next 28 days. And for those of you who are viewing us online, I would invite you to continue viewing us online on Sunday morning. At this juncture, I want to intimate that I'm very happy this morning to introduce our guest speaker. We pride ourselves as Sanatans Hindus to understand that Sanatana Dharma refers to that universal way of life, secular and the non-secular. And this morning, given the impact of what has been happening in our society, with particular reference to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, I have invited and is graciously accepted the invitation a young, very qualified and experienced gentleman who's been with us before. He is a clinical psychologist by training in both, having received training in both the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. He is now attached to the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. And this morning to speak with us on the impact, psychologically and otherwise, of the COVID-19 pandemic is Mr. Sanjeev Bahadur Singh. I'm thinking of Keshav as I'm talking about Sanjeev Bahadur Singh. And I'll ask Sanjeev as he speaks to us to, if you can, address what are some of the common impacts that persons experience, what are some of the symptoms that persons can recognize that emanate out of that impact, and what are some of the mitigating things that you can do to deal with some of these impacts that address us at this point. So please, welcome to the podium, Sanjeev Bahadur Singh. Now, address that right in the atmosphere.
Hello, everybody. Like, okay, nice. Let's just give me 1 second. So, before we had the disclosures yesterday by our PM about what the next 28 days would have looked like, I prepared something else, because when Pandit and I initially spoke, things were looking kind of semi-positive and there weren't as many cases, but early this morning I got up and I was thinking about a couple of things, so I decided to change everything. I wrote something. So if you see me looking at my laptop, it's because I have a little bit of ADHD and I can't remember everything off the top of my head, and also I don't want to misinform anybody because I think this on the books, right? Facebook, or live somewhere. So I changed it to 2020 and our mental health. So before we start, I'd just like to reach out to anybody, and I guess the people who would best be able to contribute might be those with microphones nearby. So instrumentalists and vocalists, you might be picked on. So what are some new things that you may have learned during your quarantine experience so far? Okay, while somebody gets in a mic, I will tell you something I learned within the last week that blew my mind. So apparently the CIA and the Pentagon released files or confirmed the existence of some extraterrestrial UFO somethings. And they had a whole set of files disclosed and it was available to everybody now. So I was like, wow, this is amazing, you know, all this time. They didn't say that aliens exist, but they confirmed extraterrestrial interactions and that kind of stuff, whatever that might mean. Anybody else ready? You learn to cook. That was my next point. So I was going to say that going to restaurants in the future not really entirely worth it for me because having been home and you get a chance to look up some recipes, you realize that when you go to a restaurant, you're not getting food that tastes as good as you can make it. It might not look the best, but it might taste better at home and might cost a couple $100 less. So yes, learning to cook was definitely a big plus. Anybody else?
I appreciate how precious life is.
Yes. That should have been there from before COVID, though.
A little bit more. I think children and the youth, they do not really pay the attention that is necessary to how scary COVID is and the terrible negative impact of COVID.
Yes. That is true. Some people could be a little bit careless. I think she is referring to my younger brother and him being out and lying. But he is careful, but yes, people should exercise caution. Did anybody learn anything else? Like knew something that was out of the ordinary?
I wouldn't say I learned something new, but I got more time to do things that I never would have gotten to do. For instance, I got more time to focus on myself and exercise more.
So COVID was not entirely bad all the way through, right? And the fact that we are here means that we were not affected as bad because there are some people who can't come out of their houses now. There are some people who in Kora, some people in Kufa, right? And we are fortunate enough to be here. So there were some bad things and there are some bad things, but there were some good opportunities to learn and to develop self. So 2020 has been a challenging year globally as well as locally, right? We have seen great change and we are still trying to adapt and accept some of it. We have seen the rise and continued spread of COVID. We have also seen the influence of systemic and social injustice and the responses to them like the Black Lives Matter movement, which was felt globally. Now, think about this for instance, right? How powerful was that event or those series of events that a minority group in the greatest country in the world could ripple across the entire world and touch people who had no idea of what was going on became involved. That that powerful statement that was done by a media, and it was done, it affected people in Trinidad all across the world. People protested, they came out, people did other things that they shouldn't have done, but look how powerful that spread on social media was, right? Pay attention to that. To add to that, there were political scandals, both foreign and local. We are fresh out of a general election, which has also left this country in an emotionally charged but depleted state from both sides, and we have seen and experienced dirty racism and many forms of discrimination which appear to go unchecked from either side, right? And as I'm right, how does this affect us all? Anybody want to say something? People with microphones, I will look to you all because you could speak. Unless you all want to talk loud in the back, anybody? I want to get an idea of how these things might have affected people differently because we all experience things differently. And okay, so nobody. Alright, so nobody was a little bit stressed or nobody was a little bit upset that things might have changed in their life. Nobody had plans. Oh, yes.
I feel that in regards to the Black Lives Movement, I felt from that incident that I don't feel that I'm able to express myself clearly or freely anymore because you are always judged by persons around
So you feel like you're tiptoeing and you're walking on eggshells all the time now, right? Yeah. So that's what we call a heightened sense of arousal, right? And it is exactly like what Auntie was describing. You become so sensitive of things and you become so critical of yourself and you second guess yourself in things that you would normally be confident in, things that you wouldn't think twice about, things that you would do comfortably in your daily lives. They become challenging. You take a step back and like, wow, should I have said that? Or I'm going to this place now. Do I have to do this? How do I greet this person? How do I move? You see? And this level of stress, in addition to stress with COVID, which has compromised the rights of everybody to go around, to interact freely, to do anything, it is a huge mental tax on people. So would anybody else like to be brave and share what they might have felt?
Is this like specifically to do with the events that occurred during COVID with the discrimination and
no, just 2020, anything, because 2020 has a lot of challenges in it.
Okay, well, first of all, I have a lot to say about this, but I'm going to keep it short. I personally felt a lot of troubles coping because of the fact that I was an exam student during this time. Writing KPOC SEC or even essay right now was completely different, and there were these posts going on social media where people were saying, you know, it's just a paper one or whatever, and your exam is less, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of affects you in a way in that you don't know if you've done enough. You don't know if, am I doing less than all the other years? Do I, you know, is my exam easier? But it's not. In fact, it's way harder to do online school for so long, have so much uncertainty with exam dates, especially for the SEA kids. I have a bloody feeling right now. And to do that and still be waiting for results, and we have no clue even what the future is going to be like right now, because next year is not going to be the same. We don't have school until next year probably right now, so it's still very uncertain. It's still very, you know, makes students really anxious and really uncertain about their future.
Thanks so much for that, and that is actually a quite articulate way of putting how people would feel. So we had a plan, right? We all had a certain expectation of what we might have been in the next year or 5 years. We were working towards that. We didn't see any big disruption, and then there's a disruption, and then from this disruption comes uncertainty, and humans are creatures that like structure. We do well with structure, we do well with order, we do well with consistency. When we are deprived of that, we become distressed, we become disorganized, we react, and sometimes in reacting, we may not react the right way. Fernando mentioned coping mechanisms, right? Now, that was actually my next point. Coping mechanisms, they sound easy, and really and truly developing healthy coping mechanisms are really difficult, or they could be difficult. It's easy to develop unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? And we know somebody unhealthy coping mechanisms. Some people might lie down in front of the TV and just eat Lay's or eat ice cream for however long. Some people might go engage in self-destructive behaviors by bars, or, you know, people find whatever they need to do to engage in it, but it may not be constructive. We call that self-destructive. So finding healthy coping mechanisms are a serious challenge. But to get to that, and to not to go into too much psychological detail about like specific diagnoses or things that everybody may be experiencing, I'm going to categorize it as stress, right? And within this stress, I will show you how to break down the experience and also how to seek help if it is you need it. So when you think of stress, what do you think about, just generally? Anybody? Raised blood pressure. Wait, I didn't even have that one here. I'm over 30. I should have that one first. Anything else? So raised blood pressure, that's physiological, right? There's physical, there's tightness in muscles, that physical tension you feel when you're stressed. Anything else?
Trouble sleeping or eating.
Right, trouble sleeping or eating. I would add digestive issues as well. Anybody? All you knew that, right? That when you're stressed, it throws off your digestive system. Anything else? Anxiety, mental health issues, yeah. There's also weight gain, one of the worst of them all. and yeah, other emotional problems in addition to anxiety like depression and all these other stuff, right? So if you don't have proper support or what we call healthy coping mechanisms to deal with stress, the emotional problems will get worse. And as I was saying earlier, healthy coping mechanisms are subjective and they differ from person to person. And they're really hard. It's like trying to form new habits that may be uncomfortable at first but will benefit you in the end, right? It's like thinking about exercising. It's something we know we all need to do more, but just to get and do it is a stretch sometimes. So, how can we reduce stress, right? So the first thing I thought of, because I was actually on vacation for a little while, and then they called me back out to work, and then I'm back on vacation now. So one of the first things that I did was I ordered food from one of my friend's places. He had a real tough life, and he just started a food place. So I was like, you know what? Let me just patronize him, and I did, and the food was amazing. So this is what I did, right? It was something called mindfulness. And mindfulness is basically the practice of being in the moment and enjoying every second of your experience. So like I said, I tried it with food. You have the food. How many ways can you experience food? Normally in our day-to-day lives, we would just rush eat food because we have to go and we have things to do. We don't think of food as something that could be quite enjoyable unless we're spending a lot of money on it on a special occasion. But this could be very different every day. We can have considerable, enjoyable moments every day through mindfulness and simple moments. So with food, make something you like. You see it, you look at it, it likes good, it pleases you there. You smell it, it smells good, it pleases that sense. You touch it, it feels good, hopefully. It feels good there, right? So you enjoy it, then you put it in your mouth, you taste it. There's a different sensation there too. So these are all senses that could be, once you focus on them, stimulated to the point to create these pleasurable experiences, powerful pleasurable experiences in everyday life that could help us take away from the negativity and the stress. So try it with food, try it with listening to music, try it with everything. Even driving or anything that you might find mundane in your life. If you're cutting up garlic or you're cutting up aloo or something, try it, right? Just be mindful in the moment. Think of what you're doing, try to put yourself there, enjoy, let your senses be stimulated right through. So the next one is exercising. But I had exercising / learning because I had a kind of cool experience recently from my vacation. So my fiance showed me this video of a guy who uses average people in exercising, right? Thank God for average people. It's not all these buff people with 8-pack, and you know, from the time you see that, I can't go and look at the video. I get intimidated one time and wouldn't bother to continue. So it's normal people like me who are a little bit heavy set and like, you know, they're not too fit looking. And he would use them in the video and just go at their pace, right? So I typically like to exercise in a physical way. Like I would like physical contact sports. I like that kind of rough play and thing. I would like to go to a gym and just do something repetitive or just sit down and look at a TV and do that kind of thing. It's not stimulated to me, right? But I decided to try it. So the man's commentary in this video was what was quite powerful to me. It was simple but really, really strong. So he kept reassuring the viewers, like myself, and his participants that though it was hard, every additional step that you took was a win over yourself for not exercising or for not doing something. So every small step that you take in a direction, no matter if it's one more step in an exercise video or if it's a step in learning something, is a success, a small level of success over yourself. Not that you're competing with yourself, but it's something to be proud of and to not take for granted. So when I was exercising in the video, he did it a couple times, and you know, I tried to commit to the video and I was feeling tired, I wanted to quit, but he kept saying, you know, it's like, you know, you're doing good, you're doing good. And I was like, this man don't know me, what he talking about, I'm doing good. And then he was like, just remember, one more step. This step is the step that you took over the last step, and it's a step to success. And I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense, right? This is something you can apply across all different areas if you like. Something new that you're learning, or something new that you want to try out. So, mindfulness and exercising and stuff like deep breathing is things that psychologists and mental health workers will always tell people to do all the time, right? When you say you're stressed or you're feeling depressed or you have anxiety, we would put you onto these exercises. And people would normally tell us, we don't have time for that, or we tried once and it's not working. Well, fortunately for everybody, now we have a little bit more time, right? I urge you and encourage you to try it. These things do work. It's like building healthy habits that once you cultivate them, they will assist you and they will not become a task. They will not become a bore to you. They will become a great asset in helping you regulate your emotional state, which is quite critical. So something else I came across this week was emotional dumping. And I tried it 2 days this week and it was sort of successful, but it's like learning a new habit. You have to keep practicing it to get better at it. So, emotional dumping. Your body lets you know when you need to get rid of waste, right? I would hope so for everybody. So, similarly, your mind lets you know, but society and work and life and everything around you takes you away from that awareness. It takes you away from the red flags that you may be experiencing within your own mind. So, this is something that we could do, or this is something I tried and it really helped. So when we experience stress in a day, right, not every day is a very traumatic experience where our life changes drastically and we don't know what's going to happen for the next couple of days. But every day we do experience some minor instances of stress, whether it be a sibling argument, somebody give you a bad drive on the road, you pay for food, you didn't like it, something. There are always these small instances of stress. And as human beings, we tend to let them build up inside us. We may get angry in the moment, and the rage or the anger will stay there and will build up as other energy, and we don't expend it properly. So, the emotional dumping, right? What you might need is a quiet space and a couple moments by yourself. Think of the things that upset you in a day. Not everything would have triggered powerful emotional reactions, and at the same time, not everything could be ignored. So process your day. Think of the upset situations that you could resolve and understand. Once you could understand the situation, take for example a bad drive. Think about it. The man probably did not give you that bad drive on purpose. It just happened because he was in a hurry, you were in a hurry, and it just happened at that point in the road. It wasn't something that was directly targeted towards you. It wasn't intentional. So if you could come to that awareness, then you could let go of that energy. You don't feel any pent-up energy there. And you just think of yourself physically holding that energy and releasing it. And releasing it with that experience. And just accept that experience happened and that it was going to stay there and you move on. And I tried that a couple of times and I found myself a little bit less tense, which is really good because a little less tension in these times is a lot. So, something else we need to take into consideration is reducing stress by managing our information flow, right? Now, we are all securely connected and interlinked by our current technology. This means that it is easy to receive information and to send it inexpensively and instantly. We have all experienced at some point in time false WhatsApp reports about incidents and false Facebook posts and so forth. Not so? Right. Good. So in this time where it is imperative that we pay close attention to the sources of information that we read or share, we really need to take a step back sometimes because we all have these family groups and friend groups where somebody would send a post and be like, hey, XYZ happening at so and so time, and then it gets your sense of arousal. You get anxiety from it, you get stressed, and you wonder, wait, I need to protect family, I need to protect this. But then it turns out that it might not be true. And then sometimes what was supposed to stay in a private family group or a private friend group gets shared to the next group, and then it gets shared again, then becomes a public room, and then you just, well, not you, but people add to stress. So I'm saying that to say, be responsible with the posts that you receive or share the information that you get. And we need to accept that it's okay to not know everything all the time, right? We have all developed some level of distrust for the media, so it is difficult to accept what we are being told, and it is easy to identify the media and the government as organizations. However, these organizations have people in them too. Whether we perceive them to be bad or not, these people may be fighting for the right things, and these people may be fighting to protect us. We will never know the full story, and there's something that we have to accept. But what we need to do is to try to protect ourselves and to encourage others to continue to protect themselves, both physically and mentally. So, what else we could do? So this was this actually happened this morning. I went to the pharmacy and I needed to buy a mask because this one honestly was not smelling very nice. And yeah, that's enough said about that. So I was there waiting to go inside, and there was a gentleman who did not have a mask, and he wanted to go in the pharmacy, and his friend was telling him, take a chance now, take a chance, go inside quick. And it just occurred to me there and then. Thank God the security came out and stopped, and they was like, you know, you can't come inside if you don't have a mask. But we as trainees, we always looking to take a chance somewhere. May not be something huge, but if we get a little blind, we're more inclined than I would think any other population in the world to lean towards a blind, right? So please try not to take any chances, try not to take any risks. It may look as simple as me going to buy Adele without a mask, but we don't know. This is something that we can't see, something that we don't know if it's here or not. It's like an invisible, intangible enemy, right? So we need to be extra careful, and we need to treat with it as such. So I would like to close by saying that COVID has affected everybody. It has changed the course of the world, and it still is changing the course of the world. And during this COVID period, we had a lot of other challenges too. And we will also continue to have daily challenges because life goes on. Life didn't stop with COVID. Life and its challenges will continue to go on. And just to say that this period wasn't only negative. There were opportunities to learn, opportunities to develop something positive. So, for the most part of it, people, if you feel that you are not yourself, then chances are you have a little bit too much on your mental plate, right? So, if you go to a doctor and a doctor tells you you have this cardiac problem, you need to exercise 30 minutes a day, you would want to learn religiously. People will often go to doctors or to mental health professionals for feeling stress or out of it, but you know yourself, you would know how you're feeling. If you feel out of sorts, or you don't feel like yourself, or you feel overwhelmed, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to a doctor, reach out to anybody, and get help. You know yourself. And people are less inclined to take care of their mental health than anything else. Please don't do that. This is the most important time to seek that, because that could be our greatest asset in going forward in uncertain times. Thank you, and Sitaram.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev, for that very wonderful presentation. Before you leave the podium, I will invite our Vice Chairman, Mr. Sinana, who is making a very small token of our appreciation. So that on behalf of the Mandir and Sanjeev, we want to say thank you so much for taking your time and sharing with us this very valuable information this morning. Again, thank you so much, Sanjeev. Please give him a round of applause. Right, at this juncture, before you come forward to do your RT and so on, a couple things. One is the protocols that will be observed again this morning, just to remind persons, so that when you are coming up to do your RT, please put on the gloves, the disposable gloves. That's everybody who's coming forward to do RT. After you complete your circuit by the Murtis, and if you're coming to the BD, only when you complete all of your RT and so on, then take off the gloves and dispose of it in the bin provided. Everybody would have been scanned thoroughly when you were coming in and would have sanitized hands and so on. Now, the reason I'm repeating the protocols is not that you are unaware of it, but it's just by way of reinforcement of these practices. As you would have no doubt been aware, and I'm sorry, Sanjeev, for adding for the stress level and anxiety level, but I think I need to repeat it. We are now in Trinidad and Tobago in a phase known as community spread. Community spread, as far as we are concerned, I have COVID, you have COVID, Auntie has COVID, so we need to think that everybody that we come into contact with may be a potential carrier of COVID-19, a simplistic. And if we think that way, then how we interact and what we do in terms of our practices will be guided accordingly. So you just made a very powerful statement about the man in the pharmacy wanting to take a chance. And as Trinis, we want to lie. Some of us as Trinis feel, you know what, COVID is just a government hoax. And if you think that way, I want you to disabuse your mind of that thought immediately. Because there are several hundred people who have a very different experience because they are impacted by COVID directly and their respective families. And there are 10 persons who have died in Trinidad and Tobago as a result of it. So that's as real as you can get. The only way to combat this type of incident is by adhering to the proper practices. We've heard the Prime Minister said yesterday about the intention to make the wearing of face masks mandatory. And that is something I think should have been done a little while ago, but it's better late than never. What it means, therefore, is that once you are out of your home, and sometimes depending upon the circumstance, even when you are in your home, that face mask should be on and worn properly. So wearing it properly means having it on, covering your nose and your mouth. That is what it means. So those are some of the practices that must be adhered to. Physical spacing. Staying away from somebody, and that's why we mark the benches, so you get an idea. You want to stay a proper distance away from somebody so that if you are speaking, any nodules coming out of your mouth is not going in the direction of the other person. Definitely, if you are sneezing or coughing, you should be following the proper etiquette. Either sneezing into the crook of your elbow if you can't reach for a tissue, or if you have a tissue, sneezing in that tissue or coughing in that tissue, and then disposing of it properly, not keeping it and reusing it again and again and again. Sanitizing of your hands. Hand sanitization is very important because as an instantaneous reflex, we always want to touch our face. We want to touch our eyes, touch our nose or mouth or whatever, and then unconsciously we want to touch something else. And that is a very common way in which spread can occur. So all of these practices, which are science-driven, are things that we should adhere to. See the fake news that Sanjeev referred to, that's something we need to stay away from. This fake news and the panic, oh, somebody with a COVID showed up in this place, and oh, somebody with a COVID showed up in that place. Forget the fake news. Listen to the data, listen to the science, and actually follow the proper practices. Do not listen to all of the rumors and rumor mongering on the news. And as was said, we are in a very much politically charged environment still. Unfortunately, but that's where we are. And therefore it's important that we do not now mix the practices associated with COVID and what we should do with any kind of political affiliation. The election is over, it's done, it's gone, that's it. Let us move forward, not looking backwards. And whatever has been prescribed by the authorities, let us not say, well, that's a political thing. That is the most irresponsible thing that could be done. When we looked at the election campaign, the spread that we are facing now is as a direct result of irresponsible behavior by many citizens. And I'll repeat that. The community spread that we are experiencing now is as a direct result of the irresponsible behavior of many citizens on the campaign trail and otherwise. Pass by any bar and you see the absolute nonsense that is going on there in terms of practices. And I want to say that it was a good move to stop the consumption on site. But as a meme went out yesterday, people will drink and drive, right? Because they can't drink and stay. And I think that we should not be drinking at all. But that is the thing that we are talking about in terms of Trinis trying to get a line and find a loophole. So I want to encourage all of you here to do the correct thing as you've been doing, and I want to commend all of you for doing it. But more than that, I want you all to buy into the responsibility of ensuring that your families, and those around you also adhere to the proper practices. So don't think that because you are in a home environment, you can adopt improper practices. In a home, you're in a silo. But if your extended family comes into that home, it's no longer a silo. Because then you are bringing in another element into that home. And therefore, you need to follow the proper practices when that happens. Community spread means exactly that. We don't know where it can come from. But we do not need to panic and become anxious. We need to follow what is the proper thing to do. That is critical. Follow the proper thing. As a result, our Mandir, as I said at the beginning, we will no longer be having face-to-face services on a Sunday morning. But we will be streaming online some offering or some service that you, the devotees, can sit in the confines of your own home and follow and engage in. Because it's important, as Sanjeev spoke about mindfulness, our act of worship and our act of satsang is an important part of mindfulness. Because it stimulates the senses as well. When you engage in puja or ritualistic worship, as we do, then that is part of stimulating our senses. It is a part about allowing our minds to be impacted in a positive way. It is in fact a constructive and positive activity. So we encourage everyone who is able to join in with us online. That includes Ganesh Utsav. So the Ganesh Utsav celebration will not be at the Mandir. We will be doing it online, and you will be hearing more about it after. Okay, so please stay in touch with legitimate news of the Mandir, not fake news, that comes to you via email, it comes to you via WhatsApp, or somebody may give you a phone call. Adhere to what is being said vis-a-vis the Mandir and the activities of the Mandir, and please follow suit. So all classes, effective tomorrow, are suspended at the Mandir. For all intents and purposes, the Mandir is closed for public services. If you want to come in as an individual for some special reason, then you need to make the arrangements, or Pujari is here, and you can come in following the proper practices to do your private meditation as an individual and things of that nature. So those are things that can be afforded. Again, the issue of proper practices. Now, our SEA students and our student body, there are changes that will have to be made. And our SEA students, thankfully, are still being allowed to write their exam on Thursday. Thank God for that, and that they can get that out of the way, because the stress level imposed on those poor children and their parents is really quite untenable. But more than that, as parents, you've heard again that from September 1st, when school was supposed to have resumed, that's no longer going to happen in terms of a face-to-face interaction. And very likely, parents will have to assume responsibility for assisting your children in an online environment. And an online environment is something that not everybody is accustomed to. And there are many positives, but there are also many dangers and pitfalls there. So as parents, you need to act in the best interest of your child, in terms of doing the best that you can with what you have. As children, it is incumbent upon you to adapt to the new circumstances and to do the best that you can with what you have, and to allow yourself to take those steps each day, each time. Again, as Sanjeev has mentioned, one step every day gets you closer to your destination. So those are some of the things that I want us to be reminded about. And then finally, because I'm very disappointed that following the August 10th general election and following a very unfortunate post by a young lady, and which then cascaded into an eruption and overflow of racist sentiment across the length and breadth of this country, on social media in particular, that the Roman Catholic Church could have come out and said something about it, that the Presbyterian Church could have come out and said something about it, that the Muslim body could have come out and said something about it. And as of today, I have not heard the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha come out and say anything about it. And therefore, I will say to you, the members, and to who's looking at us online, Sanatan Dharma does not tolerate racism. Let me say that again. Sanatana Dharma does not tolerate racism in any form, in any fashion. And if there's any doubt about that, that is not a Hindu practice. That is not a Hindu methodology. That is not a Hindu teaching. We believe, as we've chanted every Sunday, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhuya, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu, Ma Krishnit Dukha Bhavave. Let everyone, not let Hindus, not let Indians, not let Africans, not let Chinese, not let Syrians, let everyone be happy. Let everyone be free from sickness. Let everyone prosper. That is our tradition. And when you are confronted with ignorance and you're confronted with venom, then just leave it aside as that person wallowing in ignorance. And do not engage that. Stand up for what is right. Know what your Dharma says. And do not practice or tolerate racism of any kind. I repeat that, especially for our young people. Because this is a wonderful country. You know, many times we say we have East Indian heritage. We may be. But this is our home. This is our home. For those of you who've traveled to India, you are not accepted as an Indian. Because you're not. You are Trinbagonian. For those of African descent who travel to Africa, you are not accepted as an African because you are Trinbagonian. Let us realize that and stop the foolishness. Stop it. And it must be clearly said by all of the leaders, religious and political, that it is time to stop that. And if we don't put an end to it, then it will lead us down a spiral, and we're already there, to destruction of the society. So let us be aware of it. Let us as Hindus understand what our Dharma says, and let us make sure that that message is sent very clearly and very loudly to all corridors of this country. We are all citizens of the human race. And with that, I want to end and invite you now to come and engage in your arati in accordance with the practices that I've said. So please observe the physical spacing. Do not crowd each other by the murti, and make sure you wear your gloves as you come forward. Jai Sitaram, everyone. I want to wish Mitra, Dr. Mitra Maharaj, a very happy birthday as he celebrates his birthday today. In his absence, I want to wish young Kabir Singh, Dina and Kari's son, happy birthday. It's his birthday as well. And I want to say farewell to our Basri player, who will be with us for his last Sunday today, as he engages in other activities out of the Mandir and out of the country. So for Sunday, God bless you. May you always remember Sadhana. Subhanahu.
Sukha
चारों युग में नाम तुम्हारा प्यारे कृष्ण कन्हैया हो। चारों युग में नाम तुम्हारा प्यारे कृष्ण कन्हैया हो। चारों युग में नाम तुम्हारा प्यारे कृष्ण कन्हैया
for writing the essay exam this week. Mandir Thank
Just a reminder again, those of you who wish to buy the t-shirts, they are available from Mr. Babulal. You're reminded as well that we are online from next week, and you will be getting details about our Ganesh Utsav online as to how the celebrations will be conducted. So please tune in and spread the word for other devotees and members. And again, we want to continue to wish our lovely son, Dr. Mitra Maharaj, a very happy birthday today. So we now have our archbishop.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari Om Jai Jagadish Hari
as we conclude the offering of our love and our adorations to the Lord. O Prabhu, as we come before you with all humility, with all sincerity, with all love, we seek your protection this morning. We seek your divine intervention in our lives so that we will be protected from all of the negativity around us, from all of the threats that we experience, and from all of the dangers that we encounter. We ask you, Lord, to always guide us, to inspire us, and indeed to show us that path that we must traverse. We pray for all those persons who are impacted negatively by this COVID pandemic and this dreaded disease. We ask your healing hands upon them all. For the families of those who have lost their loved ones, may you give them that strength of that fortitude. For those persons who are facing some anxious and are faced with anxiety, we ask you to indeed strengthen them. For all of our students who are writing the SCA examination from Thursday, Lord, we ask you to provide them with that courage that they will overcome this challenge as well. For you, O Lord, our mother and father, your family, your friend, your knowledge, your wealth, you are everything to us. Members of Management Committee, you reminded we have a very brief meeting, so all members of Management Committee, if you can gather at the back, very briefly, right after the service.